Hello, and thank you for joining us. We are back. So, ladies, let's segue on the topic that we just talked about, the teacher that was accused from South LA, and we found another one just recently. It's disgusting what's happening with our public schools. But on that note, Jackie, you were talking about it's the parents' responsibility and stranger danger. Yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, because, I mean, there are books about it. And you know what the other problem is really about that is that parents are afraid to talk to their kids about a lot of things. Parents treat their children like they're little babies all the time versus saying, you know, I started learning about sex when I was very young in elementary school. I started learning about my private area. Don't let someone touch me here. Don't let someone touch me there. People shouldn't feed you stuff that you don't know. You should be looking at things that are going into your mouth. I mean, people shouldn't say certain things to you. You can't just trust somebody. And that my parents, and with stranger danger, my parents even taught me that even a teacher is technically a stranger.
Right.
But honestly, you know, my parents didn't have that conversation with me. We did not talk.
We lived in a different time than kids do today.
That, you know, they still have to have the sex talk with me because they haven't yet. But you know, I think it's hard. And speaking of that case with the LAUSD teacher, you know, there was another student back in '93, I think it was, who has also come forward now, and she said, you know, it was years later after watching Oprah. That's how she started learning about stranger danger, is because she was watching an episode of Oprah where she was saying, you know, the right way to touch it.
Do you think the kids should be taught in the schools as well? Because a lot of parents are busy and they don't really have the investment in their kids because they're working 2 or 3 different jobs. And
with all the curriculum that kids have to go through in one day, I don't think that teachers have enough time really to teach kids sex education. And plus the fact some parents don't want their kids to be taught a certain way. It's something that every parent has their own preference on how their kid is taught that information, so they need to do it and stop being afraid. You need to open your mouth.
They could always opt their kid out of the class.
But do you ladies feel that maybe being single moms out there, or maybe moms or parents in general are too busy texting or sexting or on Facebook to just actually teach their children and discipline them?
It could be that, but it also could just be the fear of having the conversation with your kids. I mean, think about it when a kid gets to the point where they're sexually active. A lot of parents still have a hard time just opening their mouths and talking to them about sex.
Because they're hoping they're not sexually active and they don't want to have the conversation because they think they might encourage them.
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's why people aren't talking about birth control. I mean, it's a taboo. You can only talk about abstinence or not talk about it at all.
I think
because parents are uncomfortable.
I agree with you. I think that's what my parents were the same way. They didn't want to talk about it because if we talk about it, then it's probably done or will be done.
And see, my parents took a totally different approach on that because my parents felt like if they don't tell me, then I'm going to learn from my peers who are going to give me BS information and then cause me to make bad decisions.
I have to say, as a mom to 2 young children under 4, I teach them. I teach them all the time.
And that's great.
Look at this person. This is, any person is a stranger. They're all, you can't talk to them. Run away. Just run. If someone comes up to you, yell help. Run. Find your mommy. Find your daddy. Find somebody. Go to the woman in the cash register. Policeman. Anyone.
And then also, that's
you
really
have
good.
To teach
you
them
have to teach them young, and you also have to teach them the fact that a bad person doesn't necessarily look like a monster. They can look as innocent as you, their own parent.
Right.
You know. It's deceptive.
But, that's why, I mean, all these things are learning lessons. And I don't know when I would have had the conversation with my son, but, now I know, okay, it's going to happen early on, whether I'm comfortable with it or not.
With children, like you and I have young children, we don't have to teach them everything, but we do have to teach them, look, when a stranger approaches you, don't take candy, like you said, it could be anyone. It could be someone as wonderful as your priest, or it could be someone as wonderful as your nanny. You never know. You have to teach them young. You just have to start.
With that, though, I mean, you're talking about the nanny. I mean, I think there are the do's and don'ts, because then how are they going to trust anyone out there in this world?
Well,
I mean,
it's not that they can't trust it. It's just saying that if she does something that makes you feel uncomfortable, and if she's touching you in a certain way, if she says something to you,
don't be afraid to speak up.
If she tells you to come here and drink this, and you want to ask her what is inside that cup, it's okay. Just having a kid not be afraid of to talk to an adult.
Fear is your greatest
enemy. What's going on? Having that good communication with your child.
And letting them know not to be afraid of, because sometimes kids get threatened, I'll kill your parents. And they look at their parents like, oh God, I don't want this to happen. Let them know that I can handle myself.
And Jackie, you have so many great points, but unfortunately we have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on Everyway Woman. We'll see you soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at everywaywoman.com.